Well. It is time for the Death Battle cast.
What's up, everybody?
Yo.
Hey,
Ben
hi.
is frozen.
Well, chat seems to not be working for me, so I'm just double checking on that.
It's
Yeah.
working.
Okay.
They're going.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Death Battle Cast. For some reason, I cannot see your chat. So, you know what? Chat will focus on that.
I got it.
All right. So, hey, yeah, it's that time of week again. Hey, it's Tuesday.
Hey.
Woo, Tuesday, dude. Central. We do a live show every week. Whoa, crazy. I didn't know we did this. I don't know what's going on.
No way.
Yeah, we are doing a very fun matchup today. It was actually a pitch that we got from one of the Kickstarter pitches that we are excited to dive into today. We also have some cool other things to show. In particular, I know you guys are excited about an upcoming episode that is airing this weekend. Might have a little thing to show about that later on. Whoa, spoilers. But yeah, so stick around for that. But yeah, today we are going to be covering Ganondorf versus
Ganondorf?
the Dark Lord himself, the OG Sauron. And we have Liam here to represent Ganondorf and Speedy from the research team to represent Sauron. Which, like, face reveal? Is that what's going on?
Hi, I'm
What's
Speedy.
up, Speedy?
Not much. Just here to argue for another Lord of the Rings guy.
Amazing.
Heck yeah. Well, Mudpie gifted out a membership, and then Gilded gifted out 10. So thank you. And if you guys got a membership, say hey in the chat and thank the people that sent you one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, yeah, thank you all for joining us for another live Death Battle cast. We can just kind of get right into it in just a bit. Real quick reminder, because there's a lot going on, we are going to be at Comic Palooza this upcoming weekend. If this is
I'm so
your
excited.
first time hearing about it, there's a con happening this weekend in Houston, Texas. That's got
Huge.
a lot of people coming to it. It's pretty big. So if you happen to be in the
Obama?
Houston area or you're flying out for it, would be great to see you there. Again, I am getting a clicker to check off everybody who comes up to me and
You are.
tries to convince me that 100 men could beat a gorilla. If I get 100 clicks, then I will be convinced.
It was if they would volunteer, right? That was part of it. If they,
Yeah.
They have to be
if
volunteer.
They have to be
in
willing
the
to
army.
throw themselves
Yes,
against the
yeah.
gorilla. But if 100 people are willing to do it, because my whole thing was like, would people be willing to actually
no one would do
Ben,
that.
you know what we should have done? Damn. I was like, how fast can we get stickers made? Because if somebody says that, then we give them a little sticker that's like, I volunteer for the gorilla army or whatever.
the anti-gorilla force?
Yeah. So then like by the end we can see how many people are walking around the con with the stickers. Damn.
I mean, we still have a few days before the con. Maybe we could get something done.
That's funny.
That's incredible, though.
Death by gorilla.
I think saying that you'll fight a gorilla and actually doing it are very different things.
True. We should rent a
Maybe.
gorilla and then have them sort of like
Yeah. See,
See, the secret that I haven't told anybody is that I'm bringing in an actual gorilla, and anybody who actually comes up to
releasing
me
it
and tells
into
me
the
this
convention.
will have to fight the gorilla.
We're gonna like starve it for a few days, and we're gonna give it a couple of tases, and then we're just letting him loose. We're gonna let him run.
Animal cruelty,
Frolic
that's
through
what
the
we're all
field.
about here, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There you go. That's it. There's a line.
Yep, there we go. Clip that, right? All right, let's get into this. Because we have a debate to get into, a sneak peek to show off later, as well as some other stuff, which we'll get to. Okay, so Ganondorf versus Sauron. Epic battle of Dark Lords. Liam, you're repping Ganon. Speedy, you're repping Sauron. Let's start with you, Liam. 60 seconds on the clock. Give us the rundown on how Ganondorf is gonna approach this fight.
Ganondorf is the Dark Lord in Zelda. He is an incredibly powerful warlock and essentially demigod with the Triforce of Power. He is he takes the template of Sauron and just adds a shitload of video game anime bullshit onto it. And I think it makes him a much more formidable force. He has a wider variety of powers. He is probably stronger and faster. He is harder to kill, and I think he just has a lot more going for him in this fight. I think that, especially with Gloom that we got from Tears of the Kingdom, that is going to do a number on weapons like the One Ring. I think Sauron comes with a bigger weakness, and I think the dwarf is just gonna slam him. He's gonna move the control stick in the direction of, or the C stick, I should say, in the direction of Sauron. He's gonna hold it there for a little bit, and then he's gonna slam him, and he's gonna send Sauron shooting off into space and outside the bounds of the stage that they're fighting on.
I
It's
thought
gonna
you
be
said
brutal.
the dwarf for a second.
yeah.
I was like, who?
Gimli.
He's not even gonna need to fight with himself. He's gonna send in Mini Dwarf, who is a dwarf.
Ah,
He's a little
right.
Ganondorf. He's gonna throw him at him, and he's gonna.
Technically, I guess he could summon a Phantom Ganon who is mini, so he could make a mini. dwarf.
Yeah, I mean, he actually literally could do that.
I'm gonna say Gloom affecting the One Ring. Wild ass statement. That one got my eyebrows up. So we'll see about that.
Mm.
Right, it's a
That'd be
Master
interesting.
Sword. I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Well, let's talk about Sauron then. Good old
All
Dark
right.
Lord, Mr. Sauron. What's up, Speedy? Give us the lowdown.
All right, so Sauron has a lot of similarities with Ganon. He's the Dark Lord in Lord of the Rings. You said Ganon's essentially a demigod. Sauron is essentially a divine angel that helped like sing the universe into existence. So the interesting thing about this fight is you said Ganon is probably stronger and faster, has a wider variety of abilities, and I think all of that is true. I think it's a pretty interesting debate because I don't think any of that actually matters, because the big thing this is going to come down to is another point that you brought up, which is who is more difficult to kill and who is more immortal. And in that regard, it is very, very difficult to defeat Sauron. He has so many layers of immortality. He has so many resistances. He has so many ways to bypass a stat gap or to put Ganon down in ways that he has no resistance to. I expected you to bring up Gloom. It has a vast variety of abilities, but not a single one that Sauron doesn't have resistance or outright immunity to. And the effects that it would have on the One Ring are things that the Ring and Sauron can explicitly counter. So I think
Okay.
that we're looking
Yeah.
at a very difficult fight for Ganon here.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right, getting into, I mean, the different power sets that Ganondorf is bringing into this. I think a big point of discussion for me would be we have Sauron, who has one kind of continuous story where everything is building up to that One Ring sort of power set, whereas Ganon has what, like 30 different appearances where he's got all sorts of different things going on. So like, Liam, how are we approaching Ganondorf or Ganon in the, like, in whatever case we're doing, to kind of have a broad understanding of like how we're going to be comparing him to Sauron?
Well, full disclosure, I never beat Tears of the Kingdom because, as our cast discussion, I'm not the biggest fan of Tears of the Kingdom, and I petered out on it.
Wow.
So I technically don't know for
Blasphemy.
100% certain, but I am pretty sure. I'm technically not 100% certain that Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom is one of the many reincarnations of Ganondorf throughout history. I'm pretty certain that he is, though. I think that the multiple versions of Ganondorf, they have an answer. You can combine them in series because they're reincarnations, right? It's the same guy being brought back to life, and abilities that he might have in one game or timeline does not preclude him from having those in different ones. He just didn't use them because ultimately it's the same guy. It's Ganondorf Dragmire being reincarnated over and over and over again. So yeah, I don't think that there's a huge problem with compositing the different Ganondorfs.
Hang on. Lily Mandragon in
Yep.
chat has this wild statement. Ganon did lose to Dracula, and Sauron technically has Dracula on his side?
He has
What?
vampires. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
He has
He can also turn
vampires.
into a vampire.
Oh shit!
Oh, yeah, to Dracula in Death Battle. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, since when was Dracula in Legend of Zelda?
That was Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah. God, that game's
You
good.
can actually make a
Oh,
bunch
you
of
got
Draculas.
me, man, Dragon.
But-
Like,
Yeah. Little Zbot has an interesting question. Are we counting all Demise incarnations? Like Ganon's same character in almost every game except for SS, Tears of the Kingdom, and FSA are all different characters.
Yeah, they're all Demise in reincarnations. Yeah, why not?
Ganon is the same
Unless there's
character in almost every game, but Skyward Sword, Tears of the Kingdom, and Four Swords Adventures are all different characters.
Yeah, I assume it's Four Swords, yeah.
I think that
Are they?
at least
Four Swords, I think that might just be like because it doesn't slot easily into the timeline. I don't think that there's like a. I don't. When we play Four Swords, we're not supposed to be like, "Wow, this dude who looks like Ganondorf is not Ganondorf." I think it's still.
Yeah,
very-
as somebody who fucking hates Demise and thinks the whole concept of Demise just ruins the whole point of Link, like having Link being some sort of destined person who's always supposed to challenge Ganon or Demise, fucking ruins the whole point of the Triforce of Courage. Fuck Demise. I hate that. So whatever. It's Ganondorf reincarnated forever. Fuck Demise.
Not to
I
mention
don't
the
give a shit.
gameplay where it's just like, oh, gotta stop, put the plug
God.
back in the beast hole
Demise
again.
is like the worst fucking shit Zelda ever did. I hate Skyward Sword. I hate Demise. Seriously, what's the point? Like, the whole point of Link is that he's just some kid who, like, becomes, like, courageous enough to challenge a fucking demigod. But no, he's actually destined to do it. So who needs the Triforce of Courage if he's just destined to do it? He's gonna become courageous
Ben,
regardless.
There's a dungeon that's based on Buddhist Hindu mythology. It's really cool, Ben. They have a really
Great.
cool dungeon.
Okay.
Also, did you you did that, but no, just like Link from fucking, the Adventures of Link or whatever.
Well,
from the-
excuse me,
Yeah, exactly.
Demise. We're
That
not
really got-
using you. This is Ganondorf versus Sauron, not fucking Demon King wannabe or Big Barney Tooth Man, the thing that comes out of the pit 3 times. It's
yeah,
stupid.
Guild-
it looks so
Gilded
dumb.
has provided some more context. Twilight Princess is child era Ocarina of Time Ganon. Wind Waker Ganon is adult era Ocarina of Time Ganon,
Yeah.
etc. Also in
Same
Tears of the
fucking
Kingdom,
guy.
spoilers for Liam, Ganon becomes a fucking dragon.
He does become a dragon. I did look
Yes.
that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Another hot take. Zelda timeline's fucking bullshit. I don't know if that's a hot take.
It never
But
should
like,
have.
the whole reason-
The
The only reason it exists is because
Fucking
Nintendo
annoying
saw
nerds.
everybody theorizing about it and was like, we could capitalize on this and make money off of it. That's the only reason it fucking exists. It never should have existed in the first place. Fuck the Zelda timeline. Fuck Demise. Fuck anything that tries. That's why they were like, Breath of the Wild in the timeline. No, it just doesn't fit. So we're not doing it anymore. Because Nintendo was like,
Man, we fucking hate Zelda.
for the record, Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games of all time. So, and Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, Restaurant brings up a question that we touched on a little bit earlier that I'd like to hear more about, which is he's talking about how Gloom should work on the One Ring as it corroded the Master Sword, which is like the One Ring, has a soul inside of it. Fees.
Ooh, snap.
So
Yeah,
I'd love to hear
go ahead
Speedy's
and get to this
So,
Gloom discussion.
let's start with the decay thing because that seems like it's kind of the biggest argument. Gloom has a lot of other abilities as well, but that's kind of one of the big ones where like the idea is that he'll like AOE Gloom and that will decay the ring. For starters, it's worth noting that the One Ring is like almost indestructible to the point where the only thing in the story that can destroy it is the fires of Mount Doom. That's not to say, of course, that nothing else can, but nothing that is present within the narrative can, which is relevant when you have people like Gandalf there. And Gandalf is one of the Ainur. The Ainur have very powerful matter manipulation abilities. They actually were responsible for like creating and forming all of the matter in the universe. But despite that, he was not capable of interfering with the One Ring. The only thing that could do that was Sauron's own power, because that was what made it, so it could bypass the ring's invulnerability. And if you don't think that matter manipulation is comparable to decay, that is fine, because I have a much more direct statement to bring up. Sam, could you bring up Decay 1? So the chief power of all the rings alike was the prevention or slowing of decay. i.e., change viewed as a regrettable thing. The preservation of what is desired or loved or its semblance. This is more or less the elvish motive. So that was that was actually stated in the books as well. This is from the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. It encompasses decay due to time, environmental factors. It essentially prevents anything from rotting and breaking down. And that is the chief power of all rings, and the One Ring is the most powerful of all of them.
Nice. Okay. Great quote.
Yeah,
Okay.
I came prepared.
There you go. The one says, will their armies come into play? I feel like that could shift things more towards Sauron. Plus, I want another army
Ooh.
battle.
That's a fun idea. I think we might get to that a little bit later. I do
Yeah.
want to cover something about Sauron, which is kind of a change in the movie, or at least the movie kind of just skips past it because it doesn't really matter in the movie. But Sauron losing the One Ring to just some quick cut from Narsil, and then suddenly exploding, right? Like in the book, what's
That didn't
happened?
happen.
It's a little bit more complex, right?
Yeah. It was specifically what happened was, I mean, we don't really see this because it's like in the past. But there was like this whole like crazy battle. They talk about like Sauron being wiping out. I don't remember their names. It's been a while. Gil-galad and Elendil. The guys on the good
Yeah.
side. And what actually ends up happening in the end is that Elendil is able to get his hands on the ring, but like just getting it doesn't like blow Sauron up in the books. Like that's not what happens. Tolkien clarifies this in his letters. He describes it as what like Elendil was essentially taking Sauron's power from him, like for himself, by commanding the ring. And it's specifically stated that a specific requirement to do this is great heroism and bravery. So you wouldn't be able to do it if you weren't if you don't have very specific heroic traits. But Elendil was able to do that and essentially turn Sauron's power against him, and that caused him to deliberately forsake his body and flee, so as to avoid potentially being defeated by his own power, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm.
A couple people in chat are clarifying as well. Basically, a tag team between King Elendil and Gil-galad basically took Sauron down. In the process, Sauron destroyed Narsil, but was like severely wounded. So basically, all three guys are dying on the ground.
Yeah.
Gil-galad, Elendil, and Sauron, and then Isildur comes up, picks
Isildur.
up the sword, and is like, "I'm gonna
Oh,
just
right,
cut
yeah.
off this ring."
Hack it. Yeah.
Brain fart. I
kinda-
completely forgot. I completely forgot Isildur existed. I was like,
Yeah,
Elendil was the one who did it, right? No, yeah.
Yeah, Isildur kind of kill steals from
Yeah.
his dad. So like all three of them are down on the ground. And he's just like, I'm gonna take this.
Yep.
So
I have a question. You mentioned that like the reason that it can't be destroyed by anything other than the fires of Mount Doom is because it's using Sauron's power, right?
Yeah, it specifically says, like Gandalf says in Fellowship of the Ring, it can only be destroyed in the fires of Mount Doom, for that is where it was made. And for Sauron erupted it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that mean that like somebody more powerful than Sauron would be able to do that? Would be able to override those resistances?
Maybe with raw force, but not with like corrosion necessarily,
Mm,
because that's
okay,
specifically like a resistance that the ring has.
Mm,
So
gotcha,
I think that Ganon could potentially destroy the ring, but he would need to specifically go out of his way to target it with like a blast or an attack, and not like an AoE effect with his gloom.
Okay.
okay.
Like all of his power focused into the task is what you're saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
With force and not hacks, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But there
He
is a
does have
potential
AoE.
for it.
Mhm.
Okay.
It is notable that like they both have like their symbols of power like on their hands, right?
Yeah.
But the ring is like there physically. The Triforce of Power only manifests like on his hand. It's like it's part of
Yeah.
Ganondorf's essence. It can't be
Right.
like you can't like shatter it.
Yeah, you don't
could with
really
magic.
Yeah, you don't really you need to do that to destroy Ganon, though. It's more so the ring is more important to Sauron's immortality. So that's
Yes,
kind of
yes.
something that Ganon would need to figure out. I think we should probably get into the immortality stuff, because I think that there are a lot of other abilities to talk about. I know.
Really quick before we do that, I do want to point out, like, even though they both carry this symbol of their power and essentially this like sort of way they focus their power and amplify it, Sauron's is a part of himself. Even though it's physical, it is himself, and he has full control over it. Ganon's is not himself. It comes from Din,
Yeah,
right?
the higher,
the goddess
the
Din.
it's a higher
goddesses.
entity. Yeah.
And it could potentially fail him, right? Like it doesn't necessarily always. I'm trying to remember. Is there ever an example of the Triforce of Power failing Ganon or not coming to his aid?
Dracula.
Well, well, that one is more so overpowered.
I mean, it's
Overpowered
when it's
Triforce of Power.
countered, right? Like the Master Sword is able to kill Ganondorf in a way
Right.
that
Yeah.
requires him to reincarnate after 100 years.
Speaking of which, so Ganon famously can only be killed by holy weapons like the Master Sword and the light arrows, or at least it's much more difficult to kill him otherwise.
Yeah.
Sauron
doesn't
is
have-
literally an angel.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, he's an
Yeah,
angel.
he's
So
a-
like technically, wouldn't any
Sauron
weapon he
is a
wields
holy
be a holy
weapon.
weapon?
So he
Yeah.
just slaps him and he's dead.
Yeah. Ha!
But he's not, though, is he? He's
is.
an angel that has been corrupted by like Morgoth and is like a very different and very evil being than it's because like there are
It would still
unholy
be holy
weapons.
though.
There are
Would it?
unholy weapons in Zelda, right? Like, and those don't have the same kind
How
of
do you
like.
how do you define holy? I suppose.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Well-
an element of the Master Sword is like goodness, right? Is like
How does-
light is like is a good sort of positive energy.
How does
Sauron
Tolkien
is
define
evil.
holy in Lord of the Rings?
I don't
Yeah.
have any idea. I didn't look that
Because
up.
I have to imagine,
Yeah.
given that Lord of the Rings is very classic light versus dark,
Mhm.
Sauron is not holy once he
Because
you
like
know,
because like
falls
our-
under
our-
Morgoth's influence.
is Satan
His whole
holy?
image changes after that, right? Like he becomes like this dark warrior kind of thing.
We don't really
Yeah.
know
Oh, no, that's
exactly.
after he's like exploded or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
Um,
what I would say is like Sauron and Morgoth are obviously fallen angels, right? They're demons, right? That's the
They're fallen angels in the
Morgoth is
sense that
Satan.
they kind of turned against like the path of goodness or whatever.
yeah.
I don't think it's ever established from what I remember that their powers or their fundamental essence changed in any way other than how they were using them.
Right.
And Eru, like the discord that Morgoth initially sowed into the great music that caused like all the bad things in the universe, that was part of Eru's cosmic like design, his plan. So discord and evil were always intended, not intended, but they were always going to be part of the universe from before it was even created. So I don't know about. I mean, I would have to look into whether Tolkien talks about.
You could say
what
that
holiness is, but
you could say that about like Satan though too, right? Like Satan is part of God's
Satan
greater
was
plan, too.
Satan was like, wasn't he like? I don't. We should probably avoid
Morgoth,
this topic.
I'm just saying, like, if,
yeah. All right. Let's
if
start power
Sauron-
scaling.
I was like,
Lucifer.
I was,
Yeah, yeah.
I was.
It's not about that. Let me just say this. I'm saying like I'm establishing that like if Sauron is holy, then Satan is like the argument for Sauron being holy would apply to like Satan as well, right? Like because he's like a fallen angel that is, and we wouldn't really normally think of Satan as holy.
I feel like you're getting
even though
kind of
he's,
out
like-
of the realm of
Yeah.
But it's not
talking
right.
points,
Eru,
though.
Tolkien cosmology is based like on God. Is based
Sure.
on even the
Sure.
singing stuff is biblical.
At the very least,
But-
kind of trying to bring this around a little bit because
Yeah.
at the very least, Sauron is of divine nature. We
Yeah.
can say that, and then
Yeah.
I think I'd be fine with kind of dropping this point and maybe moving on. I think Sauron has other means of winning other
In
than just
Numbers
being holy.
13:5.
I also want to
Yeah, yeah.
clarify, Liam. It may have inspiration from like Christianity, but also Christianity doesn't have elves descending from heaven to like have some holy land or whatever.
Not yet, Ben.
differences. Not,
Not
yet.
yet.
Oh my God, we're
Um,
missing. There's some holy text out there we're missing. It talks about elves in the holy land across the sea. Oh man.
Exactly.
I know
Let me-
I know we have some super chats to get to.
Yep.
So we can go ahead and
Yeah,
jump
so-
to that in just a bit.
Sounds
Or
good. Yeah,
right
real
now,
quick,
even.
yeah, Roptastic with a $20 super chat. Thank you. So this is closest I'm ever going to get to my pitched matchup. I would love to see Morgoth in an episode. That was a really good pitch. We had a fun time. Eye on the Table
Morgoth
says the
would be
Twilight
wild.
Princess manga actually did a really good story involving the whole cycle of reincarnation with Link worried about being worthy or not. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a Twilight Princess manga. Gilded says, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I played Tears of the Kingdom, but didn't Ganon use it to not only create the blood moon in seconds, but also briefly move the moon out of orbit?
No, yes, that did happen. We haven't gotten to strength, but yes, he did move
Strength
the
doesn't
moon
matter.
and stuff.
Yeah, he did that. Sure, why not? It doesn't matter. Like Sauron just can't die anyway. Like
Yeah.
Can't kill me, bro. Doesn't matter how strong you are.
Yeah, Michael does say love Sauron versus Lich King, but then we need another army fight that doesn't involve Eggman. Sure, we could talk about that in a bit. Lily,
all army fights from here on out are Eggman related.
I think there's a lot to talk about with just the one-on-one. I don't know if we're gonna have time to get to all of their armies, but
yeah, we'll see.
Lily says if we're including book stuff, Sauron, like Ganon, has gotten wrecked by a doggy.
Well, it was a very
Juan.
big doggy.
Yeah,
It's a big dog.
Yeah,
it was a very big, very impressive doggy.
yeah. I was like, what are they talking about? But no, I remember now.
And then Twilight Princess, right? So
Yeah.
Michael Z, y'all should make an ultimate showdown.
Wait, do
type
you
of
want
fight.
to reference that at all, Speedy? About how God, I can't remember his name. The giant
Juan.
dog that fights Sauron.
Huan. Juan.
Yeah.
Juan.
I mean, yeah, Sauron can turn into, I think, like a snake, a wolf, and a vampire. He does that during that fight. I don't think it's super important, but it is notable. He can do that.
Yeah,
I really wanted him to turn
there's like
into a
a
vampire.
giant dog that he fights. That's some sort of impressive power set, like or powerful like entity. It's not like a normal dog. Is
Yeah.
basically my.
It's
point.
Juan. I don't remember exactly what Juan is. Or
18-dimensional dog.
Concession accepted. 18-dimensional Sauron. I win.
Little Z-Bot actually brought up something that when you were talking about a little bit earlier, Ben, about how like the Triforce could potentially like fail Ganon. He said in the comics of the Deke cartoon, the Triforce of Power left Ganon and went to Link. This turned him into magical Pigman Link. 'Twas brilliant. So it has left him before, but I don't know if we're gonna take the comics based on the Deke cartoon is
okay,
canon.
I found one thing that we're not going to composite for Ganon. Timeline.
Yeah, wait, no. Earlier you said we're compositing everything, right? So that means
Everything.
Deke Ganon gets involved.
Here's another one. Tony says in Twilight Princess, the Triforce of Power failed to power Ganondorf when Link beat him. So if he's overwhelmed, the Triforce likely won't save him.
That's right. It fades at the end of Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's worth mentioning, and this isn't something that was just sent to me over Discord by a mysterious figure, but it's worth mentioning that Ganondorf probably wouldn't have a problem spotting the One Ring or sensing its power or its importance to Sauron, because he has like incredible eyesight and can like search out magical objects. He was able to see. He could spot a secret stone from a mountain away on Raru's hand and knew how cracked it was. You can argue this to know how he spots the ring. Oh, I'll leave that part out.
The Maiar are capable of like shielding themselves from clairvoyance, like Gandalf and Saruman are capable of shielding themselves from Sauron's eyesight. So Sauron should be capable of replicating that ability to counter any clairvoyance. He can also create illusions, which he could use to hide the ring from sight or from detection. If he
But even like a fight, he could do that, like the clairvoyance thing.
Yeah,
they're like fighting each other.
Probably.
Yeah, why not?
The point is, because they're looking at each other. I don't know.
I mean, he can just take on a different form.
I'm 1,000 miles away.
He can, like I said, he can create illusions. The necromancer creates illusions throughout all of Dol Guldur when fighting Gandalf. He could just conceal it in multiple ways.
Why not?
Visually
Well, because the ring is shiny.
sensory-wise.
I mean, he presents the ring. This may be me just reading into it a bit much, but he presents the ring during the War of the Ring, or not the War of the Ring, the initial fight with Gil-galad and Elendil, because they know what it is, and it's a fear tactic. Like against Ganondorf. Ganondorf doesn't know what the fuck that is, at least from Sauron's mind. So like he doesn't need to show off the ring. So he's gonna hide it. Like he is clever, but he's also like very confident in his cleverness. So like if Ganon can get him to like show it off in some way, maybe if Ganon feigns weakness or whatever, maybe. But Ganon also doesn't really do that. So
speaking of the ring and destroying the ring, I do actually kind of want to maybe backtrack a little bit on something I conceded earlier because I wasn't thinking about it. I think you could maybe you could definitely argue that the ring would be difficult to destroy without the method with Mount Doom, like in terms of like bypassing its defenses, even if you're stronger than Sauron. And this kind of also ties back into the immortality point. So I think we should probably start getting into like how to even kill either of them.
Sure, sure. Let's
yeah.
let me just give you a pause. Have you pause real quick. So
Right.
yeah, we'll jump into part 2 essentially of this argument in just a second. And then we will also get to our sneak peek for Tom versus Wiley right after that. But before we jump into all that, I do need to talk about our sponsor for today's episode of Death Metal Cast, which is Hero Forge. And before I say anything about Hero Forge, look at this. This is the first thing that you see when you go to Hero Forge. It's an awesome online tool where you can build and customize tabletop miniatures. It's basically the ultimate character creator screen. If you've ever spent like a whole hour customizing your character in an RPG, I guarantee you will absolutely love Hero Forge just by going to the website alone. And then there's the whole like, you can actually get your minifigures sent to you after that. So that there's a lot of cool stuff going on with Hero Forge. It's easy to use and lets you build your perfect miniature using dozens of fantasy species and thousands of unique parts. Plus, you can color your mini right in the browser. And their new 2.0 color technology includes advanced features like decals, makeup, war paint, and much more. And you can design your own unique miniature to get it printed in full color, no painting needed. If you want to paint it, you can get it sent to you unpainted, but you can have it sent to you painted as well, like this. Look at this little guy. Let me see.
You're gonna have to just focus.
Huge.
Yeah.
I
Look
don't
at
know if
that.
it's looking, but yeah, it's a little hard to show up on camera. But yeah, you just saw him on screen. I designed him on Hero Forge, and now I have a Wiz minifigure, which is awesome. This guy's great. He looks so good. Yeah, Hero Forge is awesome. I've used them for years and years, even before now, for like D&D campaigns and things like that. They're great. And they've been around for a long time, constantly adding new material into the tool sets and the customizer and everything like that. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can build things out of, and it doesn't even have to be like fantasy related. I mean, like this isn't really a fantasy character, right? Like there's sci-fi stuff and adventure stuff. There's all sorts of different like genres that you can build your character out of on Hero Forge. So visit heroforge.com to start designing your custom miniature today and check back often because new content is added every week. Also, you can use the code DBC at checkout to get 5% off all orders of physical miniatures, which is awesome. So thank you, Hero Forge. It's really cool being sponsored by Hero Forge. I think.
Yeah. And they've been sponsoring us for a minute now, so thank you. They've been a great supporter of Independent Death Battle.
Cool.
Also, Ben, I had such a good segue, but I couldn't get a word in because we had a moment I was going to talk about, like, destroyed where the ring was forged, and then throw it to you. And then I was like, but there was more to be said, and I was like, damn, I left it on the table. So close.
We got people in chat, interesting, asking if we're going to do another D&D stream. We should do that.
Maybe.
We should do that. That'll be fun.
We should
do that.
never.
That would be fun.
I want to bring Gerbil Schnurts back.
Yeah, we want to do another one of those. So stay tuned. We'll probably do another one sooner than later.
Also, before we jump back into it, Joe's always keeping us honest. He says, before we get back into discussion, I need to know, is the fireside chat happening tomorrow or next Wednesday? Thank you, Joe.
Good.
Our
Next
official
week.
fireside timekeeper.
No, we need somebody to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Next week.
Because Lord knows, we may never remember to actually announce it. Yeah, it's gonna be next week.
Next week, yeah.
So thanks for the reminder.
I'm busy packing Wednesday night.
All right. So
Houston. Oh, Jesus.
No, Houston is this week. That's
yeah.
So
I'm
next
saying
week is anyway. All right, where were we? We were talking about power levels. Yeah, let's get into like the nitty gritty of the what's actually going to determine a winner here.
So Liam, how good is Ganondorf's like regeneration, like his ability to like heal from damage?
He can regenerate from a soul. In Twilight Princess, his body is destroyed, and this is like after the Beast Ganon fight, and he comes back as a spirit, and then his body reforms around that.
Excellent. The exact answer I was expecting.
Wow.
You both
Fallen
admitted
right
Actually,
into my
I actually
trap.
didn't know about that until last night, so I probably would have been like, I don't know, he can survive.
Yeah. So Sauron is exactly the same. We even talked about this in the Sauron Lich King episode. He can shed his body whenever he wants, and immediately like create a new body for himself. It's actually described as like his body is kind of like clothing, and his spirit is like his actual essence. Sam, if you could bring up Regen 1.
I love that there's multiple regen. That's great.
Yeah, but the Vala or Maya, Sauron's and Maya, could move or pass over the sea, for their bodies were self-made. They houseless as spirits, could go where they would, either slowly or immediately, and could then reclothe themselves. In Middle Earth, they usually occluded their radiance. That's from the nature of Middle Earth. So yeah, they both have the ability to regenerate from the soul. So a lot of this is going to come down to who can more effectively destroy or target the other one's soul. So another thing that we talked about for Sauron in the Lich King episode is that he has very, very extensive defenses to having his soul manipulated or destroyed. Sam, if you could bring up Soul 2. In terms of like soul destruction, which Ganondorf can do, this is describing when Eru intervened in Sauron's conquest of Numenor. Sauron was first defeated by a miracle, a direct action of God the Creator, changing the fashion of the world. Though reduced to a spirit of hatred born on a dark wind, I do not think one need boggle at the spirit carrying off the One Ring, upon which his power of dominating minds now largely defended. Did I not say boggle?
No, that's just a fun word. I wanted to say it too.
That Sauron was not himself destroyed in the anger of the One is not my fault. The problem of evil and its apparent toleration is a permanent one for all who concern themselves with our world. The indestructibility of spirits with free wills, even by the creator of them, is also an inevitable feature if one either believes in their existence or feigns it in a story. So even Eru, the supreme creator god of all of reality, who created souls as a concept in the first place, is unable to destroy spirits, including explicitly Sauron's. He also could not, interestingly, he could not destroy the One Ring either, because the spirit also carried the One Ring off. That also survived the destruction of Numenor. So that's a pretty good defense against soul destruction. Ganon has other means of manipulating souls that I know of. I know he can remove souls from the body, as well as like corrupt or possess them with gloom. Sam, if you could bring up Soul 3 and then Soul 4. These are images.
Would
so,
Eru have destroyed the ring if he wanted to? Like was it
Eru
Eru's
could have
intention
destroyed-
to try to destroy the ring?
Eru
The
could
ring-
definitely have destroyed the One Ring.
The ring
I
isn't
put my foot down.
clear. The ring isn't clear. The spirit for sure is. It specifically says that it's indestructible even to the one who created them. Anyway,
if a volcano
so these
can do it, then God can do
yeah.
it.
Well, the volcano can do it because it's Sauron's own power and it's bypassing the ring's protections. But regardless, this
infinitely.
is this pretty boy here. Although he's not that pretty in this shot. This is Sauron, like shapeshifted.
Wow.
Into like an elf. And
2011 Sauron.
He is fighting a wraith named Celebrimbor. This is from the Middle Earth games. And then if you could move over to, I think it was Soul 4, the next one. Sauron just breaks out and says, like, I serve no one. So what Celebrimbor is doing here is he's using his domination ability, which has a variety of powers, including every single thing on the list of what Gloom can do, interestingly enough. It can remove souls. It can dominate souls. It can control the mind. It can nullify powers. It can like seal souls away. It can absorb souls. I think there was another one as well. No, I think that's all of them. Oh, it can drain life energy as well. That's another thing that Gloom can do. And despite that, Celebrimbor's domination ability just doesn't work on Sauron. In the boss fight, he can always break out of it. So that's across the board resistances to various ways of manipulating his soul. So in general, targeting Sauron's soul is not going to be very effective. On the other hand, Sauron has many abilities that can target Ganon's soul. And Liam, remind me, you wrote Ganondorf versus Dracula, did you not?
I did.
Sam, could you bring up Soul 1? I have
He's
a
got this,
lovely
evil
quote here.
plan in place.
right.
He's like,
But Dracula
great.
did have a leg up with a few extra magic powers that Ganondorf just didn't have, like how he could rip out his soul in a bunch of different ways. That's something Ganondorf never really had to guard against before. What do you say to that, Mr. Swan?
I would say And yet Sauron loses at the end of Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
And I'm being serious here.
It's
Yeah, let me finish.
Right.
You got to talk. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, Liam, you get ramped up. I just have to read this. I make
Oh,
content
buddy,
said, Walt
no.
the Transformer at work is on fire, so I'm watching uninterrupted. Thumbs up. Hope you're okay.
Cool.
Okay, no, my turn now.
Sorry. Yes, yeah.
Now it's my turn
Sauron's
to interrupt.
God
Leo. No.
I'm sorry. We're gonna make him explode. All right. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Liam.
Sauron's soul cannot be fully destroyed because it's like
Right.
indestructible. But it can be depowered, defeated, crushed, and spread apart and weakened to the point that it is no longer in essence capable of reforming into Sauron. Right. So the idea that he's like he can regenerate from anything and come back from anything is nonsense. And we know that from Lord of the Rings because he is defeated when the One Ring is destroyed. His essence is dissipated, and he's never ever going to come back at the end of that story. Right. Very, very clear. So Ganondorf just needs to keep fucking wailing on him until that happens. And I remember, if we're going to bring up episodes, I remember that being a point of discussion in Sauron versus Lich King about whether which between the two of them would be able to destroy the other's soul first. And it ended up being Sauron because his weakness was less easily apparent than Arthas's was. But it's not something that Arthas was incapable of doing. That was not an episode where Sauron was totally incapable of losing. His soul can be destroyed. Actually, the Numenor example is perfect. When Eru destroyed Numenor and blew apart Sauron's body, it took him a fucking forever to reform his body and get his full power. Like this was not an attack that was nothing for him. So he can the recreation of bodies that he can do does take a toll. It will lessen his power, and eventually he'll be defeated.
Right. Okay. Just to clarify a few points there. So yes, he was defeated, and his soul was reduced to a level where it was so impotent that it could never return. That was only possible through the destruction of the One Ring, which he had poured a vast amount of his essence into. In terms of the discussions that we had during Sauron versus Lich King, it was less a matter of like how they could destroy the other soul, because I don't have this quote as like an image, but I can kind of quote for you like the beginning of the rundown. Both these Dark Lords could counter any mind or soul screwing powers, making a lot of the normal tricks much less noteworthy in this match. Destroying the One Ring was still seen as a win condition, but manipulating Sauron's soul was seen as essentially completely impossible through any other method. Lich King with Frostmourne had many methods of manipulating souls, and we ruled that Sauron was immune to all of them, other than destroying the One Ring. So that's important to clarify. The reason why Sauron took a long time to reform his body after the destruction of Numenor is highly contextual. It's actually stated in Tolkien's letters. I don't have this scanned because I wasn't prepared for you to make this argument, but it does say this in the letters, that the reason why it took a long time is because he had expended much of his energy immediately beforehand manipulating the minds of all of the people of Numenor all at once, all 18 million of them, which I want to get to that in a second because I don't think Ganon has any mind resistance feats on that level. It was specifically clarified that that was a contextual issue that was because
so if he's expending his energy, that can weaken. That can prevent him from regeneration.
If he does that for years on millions of people all at once, yes, maybe. But against an opponent that all he needs to do is rip out his soul and seal it away, who has no defense against that whatsoever, per your own writing in Ganondorf versus Dracula, the fight is going to end way quicker than that.
Yeah, speaking of which, go ahead,
yeah,
Tom.
on that note, Levitation with a huge super chat, $50 says, and this is before your rebuttal, Liam, but he said donation for Liam's casket flowers after that burn. Fair play.
I love that. That's
One
incredible.
also backing him up. So a restaurant also says Malaise, a weaker form of Gloom, was able to corrupt souls in Breath of the Wild. Those dragons are souls. And the Master Sword was fine, but Gloom immediately bypassed it.
What's the argument?
I don't know. I was wondering if you guys would get
that it can bypass even people that can defend against soul corruption.
Yeah, because
wasn't the thing that worked on the Master Sword corrosion though? Why would you be able to corrupt the soul of the Master Sword? The Master Sword's a sword.
There's a soul in it.
Well, there is a
Is
soul
there?
in it, sort of. It's
Yeah,
Fee. It's questionable what Fee actually is because she's
Yeah.
like a robot or whatever. But-
Or yeah, like
She's annoying.
Yeah.
She's annoying as fuck. is what she is.
But yeah, I mean, the Master Sword does have some semblance of light magic to it, and Gloom did remove that, so Zelda had to repower it. So that I think that's the argument there.
Somebody was
and it
asking
took
about.
how long was it? Like thousands of years to repower it with,
Kella-
and she's like supercharged with light and
Yeah.
time magic. So
It's worth
even with
noting.
her-
It's worth noting on that front, if we want to talk about like hacks layers in that regard, like with bypassing resistances, Celebrimbor was able to corrupt the souls of like thousands and thousands of like orcs and individuals all at once with his soul manipulation. He is capable of resisting similar effects from people with the same abilities, like Saruman. He resists Saruman's soul manipulation, and Sauron's soul manipulation is still able to affect Celebrimbor, and Sauron is able to resist Celebrimbor's own.
But he's stronger than all
effects.
those guys, right? Like Saruman is like.
We're talking about
he's-
hacks here. We're not talking about AP.
It
Like,
doesn't matter that, like,
him moving the moon
like-
doesn't make his soul manipulation stronger, Liam.
I think that,
I
like,
just realized something. It's
Saruman's soul manipulation is
that-
weaker than Sauron's soul manipulation.
that comment you read, Chad, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's malice, not malaise. I
was like,
said
what's
mayonnaise. And I was like, what the fuck
I
are
just
you
accepted
talking
it.
about?
I assumed it was a Zelda thing that I didn't know about.
Yeah, I was
It's a
like, I don't know what
there's a Jimmy Carter
malaise is.
powers.
Like-
Somebody
but yeah,
also asked a little
okay,
earlier who's faster.
it was written like malaise. I'll tell you.
Ganondorf is. Let me please. Ganondorf is faster. There's light timing feats in Zelda, and
Yeah.
Sauron, according to Lich King versus Sauron, is about Mach 30. So he's thousands of times roughly faster. Or yeah.
It don't
Yeah,
matter.
potentially speed
2
power
something
difference.
thousand.
Yeah. Oh, there was one super chat that I wanted to make sure. we
Though
had.
actually, as a potential counter to this, Celebrimbor with his ring, which is equal to the One Ring, was able to stop time. Does Ganon resist time stopping? I actually don't know, so I'm actually.
He does.
Okay.
He does.
Excellent.
Zelda does
Based on
a
what?
time stop. Zelda does a time stop, time manipulation attack on him, and he resists it in tears.
Okay. All right. Cool. He's faster than. I don't care.
Does
He still
Yeah,
loses.
okay. Yeah,
I got all the
that.
super chats, man. I believe.
There are a couple that we haven't covered, which is like Gildan Data mentioned Ganon when his opponent shows off his jewelry in an attempt to intimidate him. He doesn't know what the fuck the ring is. But also, Riley mentions Ganondorf loses to a fishing rod in Twilight Princess.
Oh,
if you know
yeah.
the trick, and Sauron loses to a dog. So which one is more pathetic?
I
I
could
think you
kill a
would catch
dog
it.
with a fishing rod.
I feel like I
What was
could
that?
break a fishing rod, but might get hurt pretty badly by a dog.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I could kill a dog with a fishing rod. So
Well, Keep in mind, this dog is a wolfhound. It's a big ass dog.
It's
and
more
that-
like a werewolf than a dog.
And that fishing rod was being swung by Link, who can, according to Link versus Cloud, 2011, can lift 30,000 tons or whatever it was.
That's true.
I'll say can lift Numenor, which is according to Sauron versus Lich King.
Ganondorf can lift the
quadrillion
moon.
tons. Okay.
Similar scales to him. So the,
But you were
so
saying-
the fishing rod would still be stronger.
Yeah.
Also, Gameplay's like, here's some money. Please put malaise in the script. Y'all know malaise is a real word, right? A real word. Like it is like a
It is a
feeling of
real word.
discomfort
It's a
and
real
like
world. Wow.
It's a
Real-
famous
real
speech
word.
given by Carter in the 80s.
yeah, which is why the way that was
Also
told, I
it's a
thought
word,
it was
but-
malaise, which is like a feeling of discomfort. Like it fits contextually.
So
So,
malice is much more appropriate.
but it
I
wasn't
think-
spelled like malice. It was spelled
Chad's
M-A-L.
just terrible at
whatever.
What if
reading,
Link was just
guys.
like sad?
I wasn't on that one.
I don't.
I'll admit when I fuck up.
Such a terrible.
I don't wanna
reader. This is
defend
what
Hyrule
happens
today.
when all you do is listen to audiobooks and you don't actually read your books.
I read a lot before I didn't have time to anymore.
Oh.
Yo.
You forget how to pronounce malice.
It was misspelled. It didn't say malice.
Malaise.
blaming the
Ganon is
fans.
malaise. Well, we'll see if this malaise wins. But
I
let's
swear to
get into
God.
these final bits here just a bit.
All right.
As we're kind of wrapping up here. Before we jump into that, just a quick reminder: we will be at Comic Palooza this weekend. We have a panel basically every day during the con. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have death metal panels Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, we actually have like an animation panel, essentially. Luis and Devil Artemis will both be there talking about animation and what it's like animating for Death Battle, which is going to be awesome. And of course, we are going to be showing off the upcoming episode of Wily versus Tom, which we do have a sneak peek to show off in just a bit. Before we get to that, though, Chad, I think there's one other thing we want to talk about, right?
Yeah, our next sponsor, us. Hey, we have a website, deathbattle.gg. But the main thing I want to focus on, there's a bunch of great stuff there. Like you can watch like our video archive, you can sign up for a membership there, you get specific things. But the thing I want to talk about, because we've been talking about like everything all at once, but I want to focus on the merch aspect because we have merchandise. Look, there's a shirt. It's cool. We've got this cute little
cool
dummy
shirt.
patch. I should probably take it out, but I wanted to keep it all pristine until it was used. But anyway, it's good. It's cute. We've got stickers, which are great.
Love those stickers.
This is one of my favorites, and this is the official Death Battle official researcher's notebook. This is not a death note from Wiz. That's still yet to be
I
determined.
promise you, it's not a death note. Don't worry.
We'll see. Yeah. So the thing about that is you can go to deathbattle.gg.
Hey, Chad.
What's up?
Chad, can you write your name in the the notebook just to prove that it's not
Prove
a
that
death
it's not.
No, I'm not. I'm not walking that line. We'll see. Maybe
What if he died of a heart attack after doing it, but completely coincidentally? That's entirely possible.
Yeah. Ben, instead of a ticker at Comic Palooza, have people write their name in the book of who will fight the gorilla.
Yeah, we'll bring that along too. We'll see. See how that goes. Wait, so you won't write your name in it? Okay, interesting.
Not right now. Maybe
and
we'll do it on the panel. Maybe we'll do it on the panel
for yourself on deathbattle.gg.
Yeah, so go to deathbattle.gg, click on merch. You can see all the stuff we have to offer. There also is exclusive merchandise for people who are members over there. But you don't have to be a member at all to pick up most of the merchandise. Some are limited time items, like the Game Over tee, which is going to be going away pretty soon. But yeah, head over there, deathbattle.gg, check out the merch we have. Again, you don't have to be a member, but if you are a member, certain tiers get discounts on it. So you might want to consider that. But yeah, it's a great way to support independent Death Battle. Shout out to all the people who have been doing that. In fact, it's really funny because Austin made a polo version with a death, and then he was like, "Oh no, I was just goofing around because that's what I would want." And we were like, "Put it up," and he's like, "No one's gonna want it." The first piece of merch that was sold was this Death Battle polo tee.
Yeah, might be to how Cozy's in chat saying I'm wearing my Death Battle polo today at work.
Yeah, see, it might have been you.
It's actually awesome. I love this shirt.
Yeah, it's got a little Death Battle on the sleeve. It's nice. It's fancy.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yo. Okay.
So anyway,
yeah,
go check that out. I just wanted to get that out there. You don't have to be a member to go check out the merch and buy it.
I know we're kind of like shilling ourselves and everything here, but we're very excited about it. Like we've wanted to do a lot of merch stuff for years and years and years, and now we can finally do it since we're independent and stuff. So we're very excited about it. There's also a shirt. We got the Game Over tee on the website, which is only going to be up there for a little bit longer. It is going to be moved away from. It's no longer available after some time and replaced with other items, as we are going to be sort of like cycling in items over time. So if you want that shirt, be sure to pick it up sooner than later. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, also when it comes to the quality of all the merchandise, we're pretty particular about that. It's like we're not printing on like cheap shirts or anything like that. Like it's going through the SAM approval process of like quality. So like this shirt is soft as hell. The polo is really, really nice. So just so y'all know,
SAM approval process. Can we
it's
like
merch.
acronym SAM as like Sam's approval machinations? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like, the SAM, because yeah, Sam's very picky about this stuff. So
going through the SAM system, yeah.
Yeah. We're taking suggestions for the acronym in chat right now. Okay, enough waiting. I know you guys want to see it. Let's check it out. The winner of the Tournament of Champions, Wily versus Tom. Let's see that sneak peek. Let's go. Oh my god. All right.
So excited.
Luis Cruz's Madman dude has been working on this for a while now, and it's all hand drawn. It looks
Yep,
fucking
it looks so good.
crazy.
I can't wait for y'all to see the full episode. Actually, if you're gonna be a Comic Palooza, you'll get to see it a day early.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it is airing this weekend. This Sunday will be Wile versus Tom airing on the Death Battle YouTube channel. We are showing it off on Saturday at Comic Palooza. If you are there and you get to see a little early, keep it quiet. We want to keep it, still special for everybody watching on the YouTube. And then also it will be on deathbattle.gg, the Death Battle archive, later on that week. So yeah, excited to share it.
Super Meunier, Be Real, and Gilded are keeping with their tradition, which is they all just dropped a bunch of subs in honor of the sneak peek. So thank you. If you guys got a membership, go check out all the membership stuff we have to offer. Ooh, speaking of which, I'm sure some of you are like, why is there another scheduled live stream that is currently available like right now when we're not on it? That's Champion Cast. We're, like we said, we're doing some new stuff for you YouTube members. So if you are a YouTube member, you can now watch Champions Cast live, which will be right after this. We're going to send y'all right over there. So
stick around as we wrap up today's cast. All right, Liam. All right, Speedy. Final arguments for Ganondorf and Sauron. We're going to start with you, Speedy. Is there anything else you need to cover, or your final argument for why he wins? Go.
I have two more questions for Liam, because these are things that I brought up, but I haven't really gone for the throat,
Sure.
But yeah. So first of all, does Ganon have a counter to having his soul ripped out and like sealed away and such?
Yeah, he can resist like soul attacks. He can resist like Gloom being used against him. When you use his Gloom attacks against him, like his weapons, including the Gloom spear, which removes souls, it doesn't do anything to him. It just does regular damage. So he can resist having a soul ripped out.
He bathes in Gloom, right, in the game. But that's also his own power. Like he's not deliberately like trying to rip out his own soul or anything with that.
The Gloom spear, the ability to rip out souls, is separate from like the corrosion effect that Gloom does. It's a different thing.
Okay. What about mind resistance? Mind control. What resistances does he have to that? Does he have anything on par with manipulating 18 million people's minds all at once?
So there are these things called mind bulbs.
Mind bulbs,
Zelda?
okay. That's what I figured you were going for. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have they ever manipulated 18 million people at once?
Okay. The Gloom Spear also doesn't rip somebody's soul out. It just sort of like erodes it, right? So,
no,
I
it
don't
does.
know.
It's in the like the Historia or one of the guides. It says that it removes it reaps
your soul out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I want to say the Triforce does give you resistance to like having your mind controlled. I don't know to what degree though.
Okay. All right. So Speedy, we'll just wrap this up.
Right.
Final argument for Sauron.
Final argument for Sauron. His soul is indestructible and resists all of Sauron's not Sauron, resists all of Ganondorf's abilities, like all of his Gloom powers, his like power nullification. We didn't even his corrosion. We didn't even really talk about like life draining and like BFR. He has resistances to those as well. He can reclothe his body multiple times. Eventually, he'll run out of energy, but that's over the course of multiple years, spreading his power across entire continents. It's not something that's going to happen in like a brief fight. The only way that can reasonably kill him, and this is consistent with what we decided for Sauron versus Lich King, is to destroy the One Ring. But it has a lot of magical protections. He can cast illusions in order to hide it. It's fairly unassuming, and even if Ganon attempts to decipher it with clairvoyance, Sauron can straight up counter clairvoyance. This is also consistent with what we decided in Sauron versus Lich King. We decided that Sauron would be able to counter the clairvoyance of the Eye of Acheris based on these showings. And just in general, he has multiple attack options that Sauron does, or not Sauron, I keep fucking saying this. Ganon doesn't have strong defenses against. He has mind controlled a vastly greater number of people at once. And his soul removal is able to work on Celebrimbor, who is able to resist soul removal from Saruman. So even if there
Okay.
is some degree of resistance from the spear, Sauron would just be able to bypass that. So
All right.
Ganon's strength and speed simply wouldn't matter in the face of overwhelming immortality and hacks.
Okay. And because I see Vriel's super chat saying, bet you won't show the sneak peek again at the end, I want to see if people
Well-
in chat believe in us. Will we show it again at the end? Vote yes or no while
Well-
Liam goes through his last argument.
Also, but my username sucks gifted 5, but H-Bomb, the name I don't recognize on the gifted, dropped 20. So thank you. Wow.
You don't
Lots of
recognize
new
the
members to go.
H-bomb? Wow.
I mean,
uh,
thank
thank you so much. All right, Liam.
I think that the strength and speed advantage is being ignored for a pretty simple reason. The speed advantage is in the thousands of times faster. The strength advantage with the moving of the moon compared to like the scaling to the lifting of Numenor by Ose is like a millions of times difference. Sauron's expenditure of power was over several years, and that's what weakened him. But fighting against somebody who is millions of times stronger than him, his power is going to be used like immediately, right? Like you can cloak the ring in some sort of illusion, but what happens if Ganondorf just emits an AoE attack when they're fighting? And an AoE attack that is millions of times more powerful than anything Sauron has directly fought. It's going to annihilate the ring just like that. Like the fact that the ring's weakness is force is a tremendous disadvantage for him. Sauron is not going to be able to land any of those attacks with that kind of speed disadvantage. And we kind of moved past the armies a bit, but Sauron grows his armies over time naturally as part of the earth. He tortures elves to death and gets them to be orcs. Ganondorf can raise entire armies with the wave of his hands. He does so in Breath of the Wild every blood moon, which he also does, which he did as a mummified zombie with like none of his power. So I think the fact that Ganondorf can just blow Sauron up and destroy the ring, I think nullifies any of that hack stuff. It's just too big of a gap.
All right. Well,
Gilded
now
says,
it's
what if
time.
Sauron shows Ganon the ring and Ganon says, I do?
Well,
They'd have sex.
They
who
get
knows?
married.
Yeah, then we
They'd have little-
fade to black because we can't see that.
They'd have little Gerudo Dark Knight
All right.
babies.
94% of people believe in us that we will show it at the end. We'll see if you all are right at the end of the show before we jump to Champion Cast. I'm gonna get the poll up for you guys to start voting, but in the meantime, Chad, who you leaning towards?
I really want to do this episode because, like, especially like when we got into the depths of the theology argument or debate, I was like, oh, this would be really fun. Like, is Sauron holy? How do we define that? And like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, and then also knowing that Ganon is more powerful. But then like this is I really my takeaway is I would like to actually do this episode and figure it out. But I just kind of think I'm leaning Sauron.
Oh, okay. Well, the votes are very close at the moment. It's already 50-50. I'm torn because I can definitely see the argument. Like, instinctually, I want to lean towards Sauron because I just feel that, right? But I feel like that's very much like the theme of Sauron, right? So, like, the literal matchup and the presentation of it makes me kind of lean towards Ganondorf, though, just given the amount of power he has and the actual feats that he has and what he's done over time. So I'm kind of leaning towards Ganon, but I don't know. I'm curious to see it in a full episode as well. Okay, so everybody get your votes in. Gonna wrap up the poll in just a minute. It is very close. We are currently like 1% away from each other. So get those votes in right away. Again, like Chad mentioned earlier, we will be jumping over to Champion Cast live right after we wrap up this show here. So if you are a member on the YouTube channel, stick around. I believe the way it works is you will be automatically moved into Champion Cast. It's the raid thing, right, from Twitch. YouTube has their own version of that. So you should be able to just move right into it. We'll see how it works because we're still kind of figuring it out ourselves, to be honest. But yeah, we will be doing that right after this show wraps up. And who knows, we may have some hot, spicy Zelda takes to talk about or something. We'll see.
I have a wholesome thing that I can talk about. Though.
Oh,
Really
okay.
fun. Yeah.
Wholesome and then
hot
spicy.
takes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right. I'm ending the poll in 3, 2, 1. And because you guys have a bit of delay, it ended a little bit ago. And the winner is... What? Did it disappear? What the hell happened?
No, Ganondorf
is.
with
There it is.
52%.
52%. The YouTube chat system is just bugging for me.
See
today,
what
I
it's
guess.
like, Speedy, to objectively make a better argument and still lose.
Yeah.
Sucks, doesn't it?
Uh,
all
I-
that fucking work for all those quotes.
Hey, I
No,
yeah.
wait. Are you saying chat got played? No.
No,
a
I'm
lot
not
of the
using
quotes I
that.
just pulled from my Sauron research, and also, by the way, shout out to Rena, other researcher. I don't know much about Ganon at all, so all of the stuff that was like, I expected you to say that. That's because she told me about them last night.
Rita was messaging me during this episode, being like, "It's not clairvoyance, it's just eyesight."
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk a little bit about that in Champion
Yeah.
Cast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, we will be at Comic Palooza this weekend, and Wiley versus Tom is airing this weekend as well. Very excited to share that episode with you guys. Hand drawn, animated by Luis Cruz, our very own animation director. Looking forward to all of that, and we will wrap up this episode of Death Metal Cast by showing you guys the sneak peek one more time. What, did you think we weren't gonna do that? Come on.
Yeah, and then we'll go
All
right after.
Yeah, and then we'll jump over to Champion Cast, and that's live. All right, let's show them that sneak peek one last time. Thanks, guys.